is going, but that's my see. Is that my fractured self? I'm having a conversation with myself, and sometimes I kind of often refer to myself in the third person. I'll say, "Oh, no one likes Aaron," or "Aaron's a stupid guy," or whatever way I refer to it, and and someone special to me, would point that out. "Hey, Aaron, stop doing that. Like it's you're supposed to be a unified self, not a." She doesn't say that, but I guess that's kind of what it is. I'm supposed to be unified, so speak authentically, not out of projection or whatever it is. But hey, this is what it is. I'm really happy and enjoying this dialogue, and I feel like when I talk about this stuff, I get these like revelations, and maybe is it like self-fed narcissistic supply? Is that what I'm doing? Like I'm just like going on and on about this stuff, and I feel like, oh, I made a revelation, and then I get like my own supply. Hmm. Interesting, maybe. Is that all bad? I don't know. I think I'm saying stuff that's valuable and good. I think hopefully deep understanding about the nature of reality, the nature of humanity and life and truth and all that stuff. So I think so. I feel like it. That's good. That's the point. That's the endeavor. No, I have to live it. I have to live it. Um, so let's see. Do I need to recapture anything? Um, Anything else I need to say? I'm sure there is. I guess my crescendo of energy on the subject is starting to go down, so it's probably a good time to wind it up here. I know it's a super long video. I was intending it to be like 7 or 8 minutes maybe, which my last couple little videos were. But but this is my favorite. This is one of my favorite things. Even when I was a kid, um, growing up, I used to say that my favorite thing was conversation, and I always thought that was like I would remark to myself how I thought, because I feel like proud about it or whatever, um, that's like a peculiar thing that a kid would say that and believe it and enjoy that um and maybe that's because I needed to feed myself some supply, some supply. Richard Grannon, shout out to Richard Grannon. A little supply for myself. Is that totally a bad thing? If you're depleted because you're around narcissistic people, you're in a narcissistic society. Everything is narcissistic. Well, maybe you got to give yourself a little supply. But you're trying to do something good here and trying to figure something out. So man, I would be honored if he would watch my videos, or Jordan Peterson, or anybody, or like anybody, I guess, is who would come this far and think that I had some value here, and hopefully not just be like, no, you're wrong about everything, Aaron. Here's a contrary thing to throw everything you're saying out the window. I always, I love that about people. Actually, I kind of hate that about people. And well, that I do it too to some degree. Is like it just seems like people always gotta like disagree with you, no matter what you say. They just gotta throw out the contrary opinion and be like, "Oh, here's why you're wrong, or possibly wrong." Like it's just like, great, thanks, thank you so much. Like I'm pouring out my heart and my passion to try to be right, but like, hey, here's why I might be totally wrong. Great, thank you. um, yeah, so I don't know. I still want to work on these ideas. I want to flesh them out. I want to disseminate them. I want other people's opinions. I want them to be. I want to make a course. I want to help people. I want to. These are some of the things that get me excited, and I would love to turn it into a job, a career. Something to make a living on, that I can give value to people and work with. Um, People special to me, and build something valuable here, to try to really understand and learn this stuff. I mean, Christianity being institutionalized narcissism, right? Because it teaches, and it's weird. It seems like there's a mixed bag in there, and I guess people like like um like my special lady. She would say that what does she say? That it's a mixed bag with Christianity. That what I was saying was that it's like it's compromised, right? That there are these truths, but that it has been corrupted and tainted and altered. And that would seem to be true. That would seem to me to be true, because that does align with what I'm saying and all the stuff I'm trying to flesh out here. And that there's people talking out in the hallway there. It's a bit distracting. Anyway, so yeah, so I'm not gonna say like the Bible or Christianity or any other religion or text is like all wrong and throw it all out or something. I'm just trying to, I need to, and we all do apparently, need to move into a more authentic selves and more authentic humanity, more authentic existence in life, more authentic unity and existence with Earth, right? And it's like, in a way, we've all kind of known this stuff, or at least, like we've had some perception of it, though I'm sure it usually gets dismissed. But like, we're aware of like cultures, like some native or tribal cultures or whatever that still exist today, that live like to some degree in harmony with nature, right? And so like it's not like it's a totally foreign concept or something. And you feel like, well, we've got all our comforts and luxuries that we have and all our technologies, and with all the amazing things that they give to our lives, but they also bring so many bad things. Like you watch that movie, and I'm sure there's endless documentaries about a lot of these subjects and stuff to help flesh out the idea of how like these tribal people, they can be very happy, like way more content and joyful and happier than we are, and they don't have our technology. It's like, so well, that's weird, right? Like you have to make sense of that. Um, and what are you going to say? Oh, ignorance is bliss. They're stupid. They don't know any better. Oh, they're human beings, so they're just as smart as you or I. Um, and oh, that the movies, the gods must be crazy. If you haven't seen them, I don't know exactly how many there are. There might be 3 or 4, but I don't know about those ones. I've seen the first two, and they're both wonderful, wonderful movies. Some of the most charming, endearing, sweet movies I've ever seen. Absolutely. I would recommend them for everybody and for children too. Wonderful movies. But they show these little Bushman tribes who are supposed to be essentially uncontacted tribes. And it really kind of highlights some of the differences in a comical, but also meaningful way, of how they're so free and happy and innocent and unified, and the absurdity of us and modern society, and uh, you know just all the things we have to do, going to jobs and going to these things. And it's like the technology that we're using, how superior is it really? Because there's so much trouble, and that goes along with it, right? You get a car, and that car has amazing benefits. It's a luxurious little house on wheels that goes fast and comfortable, and you can listen to music and get your butt massaged while you're driving down the road. Like it's incredible. That is incredible, no doubt. But it comes with a price, a high price. You have to have the gasoline refined and all the work that goes into that, and that's just for the fuel. You also have to maintain the vehicle and repair that, and then you have parking, and you have all this stuff that goes with that technology. And so, it's like the Papa Roach song or whatever. I'm sure, I know they didn't coin it or whatever, but like the things you own you, right? They own you. I got all this money. I buy a house, or I buy this, or I do that, and now I'm kind of a slave to them. I have to maintain them. I'm jealous of them. I have to protect them. I have to upkeep and maintain them, and that feeds, I think, narcissism. It feeds the separation of selves, because, and they touch on that in the movie, because when they were saying that these little Bushmen people had absolutely zero technology, the only thing they had was sticks and bones and grass and whatever, um, in the Kalahari, in the jungle, or not jungle, in the desert that doesn't look like a desert. And since that they don't have anything there that's like individualized and created for a specific person, which gives them advantage or anything over other people, they just share everything, right? Everything is shared and there's no ownership. They talk about how that they don't even understand the concept of ownership. You don't own. Like, what's there to own? There is nothing to own, right? Um, and that's like fascinating. So it's like, and that's very unified. I think that's very, very unified. Like, if I possess something and you need it, and like this is like, so this is some of the value that the Bible does teach as well, where it's like, if you possess something and someone else needs it, give it to them. That's unified, right? And then you're supposed to trust that God will provide for you what you have need of, right? So it's supposed to be, and I believe that that is true. So, you know, instead of being like, "Hey, this is mine. This is valuable," and regardless of whether or not I need it, I may need it down the road, or I just want to possess it. I just want to possess it. That's such a fracturing thing. It's a narcissistic thing. The very idea and nature of it is narcissistic. It's a fractured self, right? You have a conception about something, and it's not true. It's not from the true self. It doesn't make you happy. It makes you jealous. It makes you possessive. It makes you looking at others as being more or less than you, jealous of them if they have more, or looking down on them if they have less. Like, those are all bad things. Those are all bad things, guys. And so people will say, okay, well, we live in this society, do your best to be gracious and to be giving and to do this, give to charity and stuff. And that's good and wonderful. You do your best. But when the entire society and belief systems, like Christianity or probably other religions, and the whole fabric of the society itself is actually, if the whole thing is narcissistic, then no matter how much you try to be good and try to counteract that while you're living in this society, you can never fully erode it. You can never fully take that away because it's in the fabric itself, right? If I'm a good Christian family and we're taking care of ourselves and we're all going to school and university, we're all well clothed, we got a couple nice cars, nice home, but we also let's say we do some charity work sometimes, and we give thousands of dollars every year to various charities. um does that doesn't totally negate the problems, right? It doesn't. So it is good. It helps. I think absolutely it helps, but it's not the ultimate solution. And the ultimate solution is like to give it all up, isn't it? We have to give it all up, and find technology that is not double-sided, that doesn't come with those negative and fracturing attributes, right? So, if you spend your time and your effort to forge a sword, it's like, well, what's the sword going to be used for? Like, I guess it doesn't have to be used for killing people. It could be used for like some other thing, but like, I don't know. I guess, like, I was just trying to say that just there should be, and these are some of the ideas and theories of a lot of truthers and conspiracy people these days. I prefer truthers. That these ancient civilizations were very advanced, but in a far superior and different way than what we use today. That our society, it's totally obvious, I think, to anyone, at least people like myself, that this is the truth. Our society is very, very narcissistic, and you know all the technology, because people are like, well, what? And I know you can have a whole debate about the value of electric cars or whatever, but just as an example, when people are like, oh, why aren't electric cars more? Why aren't they the thing? If you think that electrification and electric cars, for as one part of that, is the solution for, pollution and a lot of these societal problems, then you ask those questions of like, well, they had electric cars like over 100 years ago, and in the early 1900s they did, and you're like, well, why wasn't that a thing all along? Or free energy technologies, or cars that run on water, or whatever these things are, and you're like, well, and so there's been many documentaries and people talk about that, and then the idea is like, well, the the people who controlled the money, the big old narcissists in um we're like, no, we're going to maintain a system where we're able to usurp and extract power over everybody, right? Over the world, over mankind, by utilizing and propagating and creating dependency on technologies which, while are helpful and powerful, they're also harmful and deadly, and they're very exclusive. I think so. The idea. Oh, excuse. I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Come on, get it out. No. Oh, excuse me. If I drank last night. If I drink, sometimes I get that. See, it's not healthy. But oh, so the idea of these like ancient civilizations, like pre-flood, for example, like Atlantis, or whatever the specific version of it is, the idea of this, if it's mud flood or Tartaria or Atlantis or something, there seems to be this idea that through myths and legends and folklore and whatnot, all throughout the world, that there was an advanced race of people or beings and civilization before a flood, um, or catastrophe of some sort, that were enlightened, that they were enlightened, that they were possibly a true divine enlightened culture, where they had these advanced like sort of technologies, um, but they weren't coupled with the destructiveness of our technologies, and the other creating, exclusivity, narcissistic qualities of our technology and our society, where it was, so they built these megalithic structures all around the world to like harness and channel and focus energy, the life's energy and healing powers and all this stuff, and like the ability to like communicate around the world or something. But the technologies, right? They're these big megalithic structures. They're there, and everyone gets to benefit from it. There's no exclusivity. It's not like you own it or buy it, or you have to pay $5 to go up and walk through the tunnels or something like you do today. They were done in such a way that was beneficial to all. This is the idea. This is the concept. And I don't see why that can't be true, right? Why? I guess because of scarcity, the whole thing of like scarcity. Well, it's like, if you plant a garden, that's not some narcissistic technology that comes with bad things. Although you can do it like that, with pesticides or whatever. You can make anything that, I guess, but planting a garden in itself, I think, is a wholly wonderful and good thing, as far as I know. Um, but then there is scarcity. Your family and people need to eat, and you need that food. But I don't know. So it's interesting. Maybe part of this is not totally our fault. Like, I don't know. Like, if the ancient world was like the Garden of Eden, where precious fruits and stuff grew plentifully year round, maybe all over the world, or the majority of the world, or whatever, then there wouldn't have been scarcity like that, right? And they could have, and so without scarcity, perhaps maybe that's the key thing, or something that enabled them to be able to stay enlightened, stay unified with their creator and with each other and with Mother Earth and this stuff. But what caused scarcity? What caused the calamity? The catastrophe, the calamity, chiefest and greatest of calamities, right? I tend to think of like dragons and angels as like, and they'll even call them that, like the dragon, like an aspect, aspect of death, aspect of fire or ice or something. Well, the aspect of it, like, what does that mean to me? And like Satan is called the dragon and stuff, and you almost wonder, like, and and angels are supposed to be like, they're like intermediaries which are able to take effect into like the physical world, but they're also like spiritual beings, but they're like intermediary, right? And I feel like dragons and angels are like maybe the same thing, but the dragons are like the bad, the narcissistic, the evil versions of angels or something. They're aspects, like the aspect of earth, the aspect of air, the aspect of water, you know, kind of like saying the element. And what was it that caused the calamity, the catastrophe, which altered the world so incredibly? And more of this information is being worked on, of what the true nature and events were that happened in this catastrophe, what things were like before, and what really happened, and how much has it really changed. And it seems it seems possible that the idea of what really changed um, is far more incredible, amazing, fantastic, than most of us ever would have imagined. Um, that that perhaps before it, mankind lived 1,000 years, or 7, 8, 900 years old, just like it talks about in the Bible. The old patriarchs lived several hundred years old, and and then the Bible also talks about like there being giants and stuff, and some of the giants were really big, and that there was like a land, the land of Nod, or was that Canaan? Where they were like grasshoppers in the eyes of the inhabitants of that land. If you're like a grasshopper, that means you're an insect. It's a big insect, but you're tiny. So if they mean that like literally, then that means there was giants in the land that were huge, like hundreds of feet tall or something, right? It's so fantastical. It seems, why is that fantastical? Why? We're giants compared to some little creatures, right? Some little creature looks up at us, and we're like hundreds of feet tall by their reckoning or whatever, and we have little people who are also quite small. And but anyways, like, all right, what am I saying? So, there's a group of people working on these ideas and fleshing them out, and I love it. It's really amazing, and I'm trying, my mind, I try to tie everything together, the unified theory of everything. And obviously certain people do that. Jordan Peterson, Stephen Hawking, whatever, um, and where does all the information fit, the puzzle? So, narcissism, how does it fit into all this? And then you look back, and so before the flood was um, perhaps giants, like huge giants, and maybe the world was completely different. Um, Sorry, pardon me. um, was Adam and Eve, was Adam a giant, a huge, like with, so I've heard teachings and stuff about, or lectures about like the Titans. I don't think they usually call them the Titans, but to me the Titans were like the earliest giants that were huge, like hundreds of feet tall. And um and they say, there's some idea that the trees back then were, some of them, miles tall. um how tall exactly, I don't know, but miles, very very tall, huge. So if the entire biome um, the climate and like the land mass and when we think of a true calamity, like when the Bible says something, makes a statement on something, it's usually a lot more potent than we realize because we think in our little terms, right? The Bible can say something pretty subtle many times, and we're just like, oh, that's quite a subtle thing. But actually, no, it's like this huge thing. If the Bible says that the you know there was a catastrophe, a flood, it could have been so much bigger than we ever imagined. Maybe, and there are theories about this stuff that there is a lot more land outside of like Antarctica, and that we're just like one pond, one petri dish, but that there are others, or and who knows how far it goes or how big it was, and um and yeah, so it's really fascinating. Um, but so I guess obviously, I don't know. I'm not saying that stuff's true. I don't know what's true. I I try to consider everything. I don't like to throw anything out because I think nothing is derived from nothing. Everything is derived from something, and so any idea and thought, no matter how fantastic or stupid or whatever it might seem, it's coming from somewhere, and I think that there is some truth um, that it's deriving from. So it might, no matter how far removed from the truth, there is truth involved. So you always have to look and piece everything together and navigate that and thread the tapestry together to see the big picture. Um, yeah, well, I love it. But so yeah, okay, I don't know. I'm gonna have to end soon. I'm gonna run out of space on my phone, but this has become an epic uh, discourse here. And for all two of you guys who watch this, if anyone gets this far, but um, so I don't know, yeah, narcissism, institutionalized, the calamity, our very nature from the split in the Garden of Eden, like, was it really just like a fracturing of self away from God? And what is God? Are we God? God is in us. Um, I mean, the Bible does say that. Like, it's crazy, right? Like, the Bible says, do ye not know that ye are gods, right? Like, and it appears to make a distinction between like God's little g and God capital G. Um, and I guess so, because even if we are gods and the power is within us far more than we ever really realized, I mean, that's obviously a big tenet of what Christianity teaches. Um, but that there is like the life force, the energy force behind it all, which would be God with the capital G. And um, but that life force is personified in us, right? In His creation or their creation. I don't know. Like, some people don't like to refer to God as male or whatever, and the Bible says that there is no male or female with God, but but I was always taught and thought that, well, we refer to God as Him in a male way, as the progenitor, as the progenitor, the sire, the king, the lord, you know, which I think is a more male thing, right? That's a more male thing. And maybe I'm wrong about that, so I don't know. Like, we're split. No, I don't think that's wrong. Like, I think that is more masculine thing, and it's not about putting down women or saying that they're not enough or insufficient or anything, but we have differences about us, and so if it's a masculine thing to create, to build, you know, um, uh, special, my special lady, she said that to me. Men are supposed to go out and build things. Well, that's what God did. So, like, Is he a man? Is he male? No, I don't think so. No, he's a spirit. He's a spirit. He doesn't have genitalia and he doesn't have gender. But but the way we are, the idea for me was that the way we relate to him, the way he relates to us, the position we're in, is just him as like a masculine creator, as a driving force, a masculine force, um, a sire, a lord, um, like men are, like the seed is from me, right? If I'm with a woman, she carries the child, but the seed came from me, right? The sperm, it come from the man, and a woman can have a child, um, from any man, but the child she bears will be that man's child, right? It'll be his, um, and hers too, of course. But so I don't know if that's so offensive or wrong, because I'm trying to get all this stuff together, like the narcissistic split, the division, the fracturing. Um, is that part of it? Referring to God as male, is that part of the split, of the fracturing? Um, I don't know. Maybe in a way, but like I said, it's not like it's the actual factual truth that he has a gender or a sex. He doesn't, and I believe the Bible says that, and it's a spirit, you know. But I mean, you have to accept what is like, as my special lady says. She always say, "Well, you don't have to." So, but you do have to, or suffer. So you essentially you have to. But anyways, um, that if men are the driving force, the generators of life and society in so much ways, like if that's the way it is, like then what's wrong with that? Can we not under if it's true, can we not accept that, understand that, see that, you know, um, reinforce that, and not also diminish women? Like, why is that? Does that automatically diminish women if God is related to us in a male way, and that masculinity is like the driving creative force behind the universe? Um, I don't know. Is that just inherently wrong? Is that part of the fracture? Mother Earth and Father Sky, or God Spirit. Um, I mean, Mother Earth didn't create herself, right? It would be like the male God. Not that he's male, but I mean, like,